Hi friends, today I am so excited. Dena Tollefson invited me to join her garden art challenge. So I was more than happy to say yes. So I went up to Lakeside and did a plein air event, and when I was up there I took a few pictures and I thought this painting would be perfect. So I painted this and I hope you guys enjoy the video on how I painted it. Thanks Dana for inviting me, and I hope you guys enjoy. And for the garden art challenge, we are going to be painting this. It is from at the Donald and Coraline Bettinger Park. It's up at Lakeside, Ohio. Lakeside is a little bit more of a private community, but you can get into it. It's a touristy place, but you have to go through the gates and stuff. So if you're ever up in northwestern Ohio, it is an excellent place to go. So I think we are going to begin. How to move that. I am going to use my Boa Hong Academy watercolor paper. It's the cold pressed. And I was having a really hard time trying to decide on what to paint. I don't know if any of you guys have those moments, and I am going to use a Faber-Castell 4H pencil. So I'm going to do this painting loosely. So you guys will be able to follow along and not get too bored. Okay, and then we got we'll put a rock right there. And there's a fern or something, some type of plant. And for this, I'm just kind of loosely sketching in the rocks. Make that go there. Okay. And if I get quiet, I'm concentrating. And then over here will be the hollyhocks. And then we'll have just a tiny bit of grass. Okay. So that's the gist of it. And then there is a boat. I haven't had much practice drawing boats, so it's pretty tiny out there. From what I'm seeing in the picture, I can't barely make it out. So, and if you can barely make it out, okay, we got our little guy in the boat, and then it looks like that. All right. Oh, and then one of the things about Lake Erie is you have the little islands in the back. So we're gonna put that in. Okay. So hopefully everybody has gotten to get out in the garden I know I have, exception of the smoky days. Oh, well, guess you can't watercolor without a water, so I will be right back. I need a water pot. Okay, I am going to use my Princeton. I just got this new Princeton Velvet Touch 1/2-inch wash brush. So I think we're going to go ahead and give this some use. But Dena, and I believe it's, I can't think of her last name, but her link will be in the description below. She invited me to this art challenge, so thank you, Dena. And I just did not want to slaughter your last name. So, but I am going to begin by using some cerulean blue. And I am using my Winsor & Newton paints and my Meeden palette. And this palette is, I have to admit, is a dream to work with. There is no staining, and I have plenty of space. So I am going to begin by, got my color, and then I'm going to also mix up a little bit of cerulean, a little bit of ultramarine blue, both, and then a little bit of burnt sienna. And I find when I'm using Winsor & Newton paint that it just works a little bit better, I think, when you pre-wet them. So before I started to paint, I went ahead and I wetted everything down. And I'm trying to get a bluish gray between my favorite neutral mix of ultramarine and burnt sienna. Okay, and I got it. So, first thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna wet the sky. So, Deanna had invited me and other artists, and I am choosing to use watercolor, but in the hashtag, it will be other artists that they're going to be using different mediums. And I'm not sure who is all in it, but Dena is gonna have a video of all those who participated in the art challenge. So this way you guys can come and check it out. There's so many beautiful things during the summer for inspiration, that is for sure. I know I'm anxious for fall to get here because of all the fall colors, and it's such a beautiful time of year here in Ohio. However, I will be sad to see the summer go. I am using a mixture of cerulean and a little bit of ultramarine because I wanted a little bit darker at the top. And there wasn't no clouds, but I'm using the artistic license to throw little clouds in there. because I feel like clouds today. They make me happy. And add a little bit more blue to that. In the distance, I believe it is Put-in Bay. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that area of Lake Erie, but we have quite a few islands. And Put-in Bay has a lot of different bars on it. And then there's Kelly's Island, which is more of like a family type spot. And they have quite a few tourist attractions. So I'm gonna let this bleed into the sky because then it'll look like there's some trees. So there's our little island. And then while that is drying, I'm gonna go down here and do our rocks. And some of the video I will be speeding up because otherwise it's gonna get to be a mile long. So for the rocks, I'm just kind of putting in the shapes, and then I can go in and lighten and darken as need be. And flat brushes are wonderful for that. Okay. But one of my favorite flowers in the garden to paint is the hollyhocks. I absolutely love hollyhocks. I think they are so pretty and they are just so much fun to paint. I'm just putting in our water here. I remember plein air painting that day. It was so lovely. I was able to paint two of my favorite things, water and flowers. And so what I am doing is I'm just taking some of this blue and taking it up to my little water line here. And then we'll end up putting some waves in. And I'm just taking the brush back and forth. I'm not really making sure it's even or none of that, because like I said, we are gonna put some more layers onto it. But we're gonna have that nice little coat. just going ahead and putting in like a bluish green for some waves. And this will just add just that much more detail that we're looking for. Okay, and we're almost done with the water. And what I do is I'm still leaving gaps. So, and then I'm gonna make some parts a little bit darker. Because in water is not always the same color. And that's just gonna give it that much more depth. When I was plein air painting that day, I didn't really have time to record or anything, but I would have loved to. It was just so beautiful there. Okay, so our water is done, and it looks like there's a lot of movement. It's darker in the front, lighter in the back, so that gives it a little bit more perspective. So now I want to work on the boat here. And this is where the shape. You can't really see what's going on, so we're just gonna do the little figure, a little head, and a little bit of a hat. So our little guy there is fishing. And then I think we can add a little bit of a shadow underneath the boat. Okay. Because it's not, you can't really see it in the picture, but the guy is there. So give it a little bit of a shadow, and that's good. And so now we're gonna work on our hollyhocks. I'm gonna take some of this Quin Magenta, water it down. So we're gonna go up over the water. And I am gonna put in these little dabs. A little too much. So like dab, 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 dab. And then I got like a little bud there. Another little flower like here. And it'll make sense once we get the green and stuff. And then like we'll put one here. One there. And then we got, put one here. Another one here. But basically I'm just putting little dabs of pink. And we'll get it filled in. And then taking some of the yellow. Okay, we're gonna take some of this sap green. Like a little bud there, one here. I'll do it that way, this way. Put in little buds. And go into the next one. Taking it down, because we'll add the leaves and stuff. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And I want like another one here. We can put some yellow in there. And then we're gonna add one more stalk. little bud. Okay, now going back to that green. Okay, and yellow. Okay. Okay, now I am making a greenish, and what we're gonna do is this needs to like be little sprigs. I'm lightly going up in between. And so it's gonna be like, I've had to cut some of this out, or it's gonna be like 8 mile long for you guys. But taking just little tiny, like little sprigs. I don't know what they're called, but it's just like a real light little line up. But that's why we're doing this loose. Just the tiniest little sprigs. You know, I love painting up at the lake. Where I live is pretty boring. So we have, you know, to plant, and there's like flowers around here, you know, but it's just not the same as the lake. It seems like Finley don't really have always some of the beauty that I see in other places. But the reason why is our river is just like chocolate. And that's good if you want to paint various shades of chocolate. So you just kind of want to throw in these little sprigs. They're like really dainty looking. Okay. It looks like there's like another plant type thing here. So I did that one backwards, but that's okay. We'll just make it work. That's a good thing with plants. I think plants are relatively easy and they're kind of fun to do. Sometimes when okay, plant looking thing. And then there's these little tiny little flowers, like they're really tiny. And it looks like they're kind of like through here. So we're just gonna a cluster here. And then one maybe like through here. Okay. So this part is a little bit tedious of the garden, but we're doing all these little sprigs, and it's just really the small details in a garden. So you got these little spiky little flowers and little plants, so we're working on that. And I'm doing various light strokes and layers. Key to this is layers and very, very light strokes. And I am loving how this is turning out. Make that a little bit darker so it blends in. Oops, trying to keep my head out of it. Sorry, guys. Cover up that line. And you can see we're just building up the layers. So we're finishing up this one. I don't like that color, so we're gonna and I'm making like crisscrossing strokes because this way it kind of blends it in. So it looks a lot fuller. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been out in the sun all day, went kayaking, and wanted to get that in. We got the rain the next few days, so we'll not be able to kayak. And my boyfriend goes back to work on Sunday, so. And tomorrow we have the Balloon Festival. And it starts, it's a 3-day event, so I'm hoping the rain holds off and might get to paint some of my hot air balloons. Okay, now I love the different colors, but you filled it in. And you want to have the mixtures of the greens. Now I'm going to go back with a little bit more of that magenta color and just kind of dabbing it in as well. Because this way it just gives it a little bit more of depth. I can get my words out. It gives it more interest having the different colors. And it don't have to be perfect. You just want just kind of the hint. And I am using my Christy Rice's number 2 round. So you can use whatever small brush you have. Oh yeah. I like that a lot better. Okay. And then I'm going to take some of my neutral tint or whatever it is and just want to put a little bit of shadows. Like maybe one here. And then probably right here. Kind of add some dry brush. Just kind of wanted to add a little bit of definition to some of these rocks. Okay. And then I just want to add a little bit more dark to here. And add a little bit more definition to this grass. And I am dry brushing it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like what you're watching, please like and subscribe, and go on over and check out the rest of the videos for the Garden Art Challenge. And once again, thank you, Dana, for inviting me. I had so much fun painting this painting here, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So we'll get the final picture here, the final painting. And thanks for watching. Bye.